Heyo, you're listening to Toasted Time, where I cook your time with some Reddit stories. Right now, you're being toasted with some r/entitled parents, where we find out what crappy parenting really means. Starting off with, my dad is claiming I'm keeping his granddaughter from him. I have a beautiful 2.5-month-old baby. My dad started fighting with me because I refused to leave her alone with him until he shows me that he can take care of her, change diaper, feed from bottle, warm up breast milk, etc. And we had a huge fight. He was yelling, and when I told him the next day that I can't do this anymore because it's preventing me from caring for my own baby properly, he complained that I'm putting her over my relationship with him. Duh. So I told him she is more important, and I will talk to him when she doesn't need me 24/7, and blocked him. My mom came over for a few times the next week, and eventually asked if she can come over with my dad so he can see her. I said yes, and he came over, threw a fit that she's asleep, and left. The next time I was at my parents' house with her while my dad was at work, I was downstairs in the living room with her when he came back home early. My mom offered him to wash his hands and told her, something we also fought over, and he just stomped angrily upstairs. And when Mom went to talk to him, he apparently wanted her to bring the baby to him without me. I obviously refused because she's so small, and I don't trust him, even with Mom's supervision. And he is now claiming I'm keeping her away from him, which, to be honest, maybe I should. And then OP made an edit. I require anyone and everyone who wants to help with my daughter to show me that they can care for her. Taking care of a baby, especially an infant, has changed so much in the past 10 years, let alone the 30 since I was that age. And all of the other grandparents, my mom and in-laws, were happy to help around and didn't mind having to show me that they can care for her. My dad is the only one who refused and was insulted by it. He wouldn't even change her diaper, regardless of how I phrased it. If he won't show me that he can care for her while I'm away for an hour, then I can't trust him. Additionally, in this specific case, he insisted that I stay out of the room while he holds her, which is just a very strange request. I wasn't keeping her away from him. He is welcome to hold her under my supervision. He just refused to have me there, so I didn't let him hold her. And then down below is a comment from Milo Morai 68, and they lay it out perfectly. Tell him I grew up your house, your rules, that's fine. You need to understand my baby, my rules. If not following them keeps you from her, that's on you, not me. To which OP then down below that says, that's actually pretty much exactly what I told my mom, and she agreed. She thinks I should have let her take my daughter to him just to please him, but she understands that I don't feel comfortable with it and respects it. And then someone down below says, a perfect line, they are such a fat cat. They say, your mom is enabling his behavior. And I could not agree any more than that. But to weigh in my own opinion, I have to say this is kind of pathetic. Is pathetic the right word? Like, the dude is storming upstairs like a child. Like, what? He is the adult. He is a dad. He's a parent. And yet he's acting like such a child. And the mom's enabling him to be a child. It's just pathetic in my own opinion. But anywho, on to the next one. And now, for the final depiction of crappy parenting with entitled mother-in-law can't believe she will have to pay for her own housing. I just want to vent. I've been with my husband about 15 years, and we were very low contact with his family for most of it because he couldn't stand them. And I probably only met his mom about 3 to 4 times, even though we lived in the same city. Well, 2 years ago, we got a call from Adult Protective Services. She was in a hospital after calling 911, and when they'd gone to get her, the apartment she shared with her daughter, who is also an entitled piece of a whole other story, was such bad condition that they didn't want to release her back there. And I'm sure they were happy to find someone else to take her. So we almost didn't even question whether there were other options, and we agreed to take her in. We moved her in. It's been a nightmare. She's very entitled and narcissistic. She doesn't have much income because she hardly ever worked, so it's pretty measly social security. She spends about half of her income on cigarettes, so we love smelling it all the time. She does smoke outside, luckily. When we first got her, she was pretty frail and it was winter. We let her smoke in the garage, which was a huge mistake and turned into a giant tantrum when we finally put a stop to it. Luckily for her, she gets Medicare fully paid for by the state and gets some food stamps, but we don't charge her anything. She's a total slob, has probably taken 5 to 6 showers in 2 years, and we really resent having her here now. She never cleans after herself, makes noise constantly, and frequently acts like a child and throws tantrums. For instance, she ran out of chocolate muffins she likes, but still had a cake and other snacks. She huffed and slammed the pantry and said, "I guess I'll just have to go without, as usual." We make sure she gets all of her meds, gets food even if her food stamps run out, and drive her to all medical appointments, which some are 90 miles away and take 4 hours. But yeah, she goes without. I wish we tried to find an alternative earlier, but we are finally trying. Today I took her to meet with a social worker about Section 8 housing. She made it off the waiting list, and we're waiting to see how much she might get and whether we can find her a studio or something. The lady explained that she would have to pay 30-40% of her income towards the rent. Mother-in-law started dogging about it immediately, how they were going to take all her money. And I'm just saying to her like, "Dog, you live in my house for free. Why shouldn't you have to pay something towards your own basic needs, such as housing, with the fridge?" And then OP made an update. She got an apartment. It's a really nice, close to our house, new windows, new mini split for heat and cool, utilities included, safe area, ground floor, hardwood floors. It's freaking perfect. With Section 8, she will only have to pay about $150 a month. We went to go and see it yesterday. Should be able to sign the lease on Monday. Well, guess what? I don't like it. Well, we told her she doesn't have a choice. She kept pestering the property manager about which direction the windows faced and decided she needed the windows to face a different way. Choosing beggars much, and now she's pouting and avoiding us and loudly yelling to herself about how she's in a horrible mood and generally bemoaning. I cannot wait for her to move out and deep clean and take our space back. And then OP comes back with yet another update to the story. We moved her into the apartment a week ago. It's been so nice to have our peace and quiet back. We deep cleaned the room and bathroom she used. So gross. So everything is great for us. But of course, she's already trying to sabotage the situation. As for the moving process, she acted like she was weak and dying the whole time. We did it all for her, including finding her a really nice used recliner chair. She paid for it, but didn't come to the store with us because she was so weak. She got a great setup, but she still hasn't slept at all and doesn't like it. Now, she doesn't even like the recliner for unspecified reasons, claiming her old one was better. It was so dirty when she moved in with us that we just wouldn't allow it to come inside, and we eventually tossed it. The new one is categorically better. But here's the worst part. It's a no smoking building. It's in big bold text in the lease. She knows this. She hasn't smoked inside in a long time anyway, so we figured she's used to it, and I wasn't gonna let her turn down the apartment because of it. We found a cheap table and set up a smoking area outside away from the building and where she doesn't have to do any steps up or down. One neighbor already talked to her about smoke coming from his window and moved the table further out, so I know someone in the building isn't cool with smoke. We went one morning to bring her some things and she was outside smoking, but as soon as she saw us, she said, "Guys, I already smoked inside." I guess she knew we'd be able to tell from the smell. She played dumb about the rule, but we reiterated it very clearly and reiterated it in no uncertain terms that if she gets kicked out, she will not move back in with us. She claims some guy told her that everyone smokes inside and they don't care. Husband went over again a few days later, but she was clearly about to light up inside, but claimed she was just getting ready to head outside. Then, yesterday, we talked to her about it again, and she just kept making excuses. "What about when it rains and snows? It's spring and very dry here. Why is that relevant?" "Well, in the morning I need a cigarette and I need coffee and I have to do my pills." I guess it's too hard to go outside somewhere in that sequence of events. My husband and I both lost our cool. If you get your dumb A kicked out, you're going to be homeless. You won't be smoking in the rain and snow, you'll be living in it. It's like she supposedly hears us, but either doesn't believe us or literally is so screwed up in her brain that she thinks her need to smoke a cigarette inside is actually more important than ensuring she has a roof over her head. Ugh. Well, let's see which one runs out first, the entitlement or the smoking habit. Which one? Place your bets, everyone. Well, that's about it for those stories today, but if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe to become a fellow bread bag. But aside from that, of course, I hope to see you in the next time toasting session. But until then, have a good one.